Good morning and welcome to the School of Community Resources and Development's 16th anniversary graduates and alumni celebration. My name is Claire McWilliams and I'm honored to be your MC today for this event, coming straight to you from this desk that I have spent way too much time at over the past few semesters. Seriously, friends, students, when I close my eyes, I can still see the white rectangles of my screens, and I measure the success of my day by how well my Wi-Fi has held up. I can't wait to be in person, in communal spaces with actual students and colleagues. Can I get an amen? I feel like today is really full circle. When we first converted this event to a virtual one, it was right when things were getting really confusing and we all took for granted these kind of educational and industry realities, and all of it became quite murky. Now we stand at a moment of realizable, measurable change. Many of us have been vaccinated. Many of us have had and recovered from COVID-19. We have found ways to adapt in the midst of crisis. There are still unknowns. There are all these kind of scary words that 2020 brought us that linger on, like variants and eco-anxiety and Zoom. But alas, we carry it on. We feel momentum and we can sense a shift. As the heavy metal band The Scorpions sang in 1989, the future's in the air, can feel it everywhere, blowing with the wind of change. Okay, 80s babies, some of you remember the event that that song represented. Put it in the chat if you remember. Okay, sorry, back on track. Well, today is a day where we take that necessary time to celebrate you, the sacrifices you've made to complete your journey, the hope that we have for positive change that you're on your way to making. So we hope that for the next hour, we can celebrate our graduating students, be you an undergraduate, a graduate student, or valued alumni, and focus on why you chose ASU, Watts College, and the School of Community Resources and Development, and your specific majors in the first place. I would like to reflect for a moment on our famously long title of our school and point out just how important each of the words is in the context of this complicated and challenging moment we find ourselves in. School, a gathering of learners and teachers pursuing knowledge together. Our way out of the crises that we face is through learning, applying, and innovating. Community. As the months have dragged on, we realize and long desperately for the widespread shared need for support and comfort that community brings us, the gaps it fills in physical, emotional, and spiritual realms. Resources. This moment openly displays the disparity in access to them and the havoc that not having the right resources and coordination can bring, and a renewed appreciation for those frontline medical, scientific service workers who are connecting us all to the vital resources that we need. Development. It is creating this environment of development that we are cultivating in our school collaboratively. That is going to make the biggest difference. So to all of you, you're being forged by fire, emerging to navigate the future, having both been informed by and strengthened by your lived experiences in this challenging time. Our school's unique focus on these important fundamentals of society are more salient than ever. Before I turn this over to our first speaker, I want to review some housekeeping rules. You may notice you're muted. We would like to ask that you stay muted for the duration of the event. We have ways of hearing your voice, answering your questions, and getting your feedback, so stay tuned. If you have any questions that come up in the course of the event, please enter them into the chat. One of our esteemed faculty members will reply directly in the chat, or maybe we'll save your question for later in the event. Please participate in the activities that have been designed to encourage engagement with our attendees. You were asked to bring your ASU prop to this event, so have it handy so that when we take our group photo at the conclusion event, you'll be ready. We also want to encourage you to set your Zoom settings to speaker view so that you can follow along the slides corresponding with the person who's speaking. You can change to speaker view on the top right-hand corner of your Zoom screen. If you hear something you like, I want you to let us know. You can use the clap or thumbs up function in Zoom if you're feeling technical, or just show excitement old school by waving or forks up or jazz hands, which is American Sign Language for silent clapping. You can also make a hand heart, or if you're really feeling lovey-dovey, a hand hug. Let us practice together. All right, can you do a Zoom clap, please? How about jazz hands? Nice. How about heart hands? Now will you give me a little hug? Ah, shucks. All right, forks up. A+, everyone. Now, don't be a video and audio muted lurker for the rest of this event. Participate. Please remember that this event is being recorded, and these images may surface in articles or websites. So if you prefer your fabulous likeness, photo, or name not to be available to the public, please make modifications on your end now. Directions can be found in the chat box. So there's a link where you can change your name. You may also close your webcam or click on the small video camera to stop video. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome the director of the School of Community Resources Development, Dr. Christine Buzende, who has been powering us through a very challenging time. I know she has had to dig deep and find energy and fortitude to navigate us through uncertainty. And for that, we are all very grateful. Hand hugs and hearts, Christine.
Thank you, Claire. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the faculty and staff, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our graduating students and their friends, as well as to our current students and alumni. Thank you for joining us for our third virtual celebration event. The pandemic has forced us to be nimble, creative, and patient, and this virtual event is a quintessential example of our students and faculty's resilience amidst the global challenges that we have all encountered. In lieu of in-person events, we have held not one, but 3 virtual events every semester since spring 2020, with the goal of celebrating you, our graduating students and alumni. Since spring 2020, we have graduated 263 students and facilitated 148 internships, which took place at a variety of community serving agencies in the Valley. Our PhD graduates have been recruited by stateside and international universities where they will continue to advance student-centered learning and to engage in youth-inspired research that benefits our local and global communities. Our faculty have applied for more than $3 million in research funding for research projects that enrich our social embeddedness and further anchor our relevance to society. Many of these funded projects have offered much needed financial support to our graduates and undergraduate students. Our staff members have tirelessly supported our students and faculty to ensure that all were successful in their varying endeavors. As a school, we have not stopped contributing to learning, to research, and to service, and we remain steadfastly committed to community betterment for the greater good of our society. I know 2020 and even 2021 have been particularly challenging for all of you as you've juggled school duties, job responsibilities, and family obligations. It has been exhausting to say the least, but you have persevered and perhaps even emerged with strengths that you did not know you had. Let this reflection of what you have accomplished propel you forward and comfort you as you contemplate any uncertainties that you might encounter upon graduation. Let your inner strengths allow you to have the courage to act with empathy towards yourself and others around you. Graduating students and alumni, whether you're newly minted experts in nonprofit leadership, tourism, parks and recreation, recreation therapy, and/or community sports, you are in the best position to make contributions that will shape the future of our society and enhance community livability. I urge you to use your accumulated knowledge to find creative practices that will make our communities better places to live. Through your academic achievements and work experience, you know how to ask critical questions, how to draw on scientific data to make informed decisions, how to cultivate alliances that can result in collaborative and sustainable actions. Do not shy away from this call to service, and please rest assured that your SCRD family will be cheering you on. We want to remain connected to you, graduates and alumni, so please stay in touch with us and email us individually or at scrd.asu.edu with any questions or comments that you might have. To our prospective students, friends, and family members, we encourage you to explore ways of contributing to the vision of SCRD, either as learners, educators, or donors. The following short video provides those of you who are new to SCRD with a short synopsis of the school's degree offerings and the various ways our students continue to impact change.
Now in its 15th year, ASU's School of Community Resources and Development, or SCRD, is a collective of high-ranking industry professionals and world-renowned research faculty who work hard to prepare students for careers centered on making communities better places to live, work, play, and visit. In the wake of the current global situation, our students and alums are at the front lines of community change, applying acquired knowledge to make a positive impact. This is hard work, particularly now. But our students and alums are invigorated by the fact that they are pursuing careers that really make a difference during a time when community matters more than ever before. SCRD's commitment to making communities better places to live, work, play, and visit takes a solutions-based approach that moves beyond theory and propels students into action. Our nonprofit leadership and management students are actively working with the nonprofit sector to offer much-needed services that enhance community well-being. Our recreation therapy students are implementing therapeutic interventions that allow members of our communities, such as veterans or people with disabilities, to live healthier lives. Our parks and recreation management students are vital to our local parks, which are experiencing higher visitation than ever before as community members are striving to maintain active lifestyles, one park visit at a time. Our community sports, special events management, and tourism management students are critically contemplating opportunities to create more resilient and sustainable communities. And our graduate students are prepared and inspired to pursue teaching and research careers centered on community well-being. We are very proud of the work of our current students, alums, faculty, and industry partners are doing to co-create healthy communities. To our prospective students, parents, employers, and donors, we say, please join us. SCRD and its community partners are doing the rewarding work of co-creating sustainable solutions for more livable communities. Together, we are stronger and more resilient. SCRD, majors that change the world.
This event would not have been possible without the help of the PRM 145 class of spring 2021, which has planned and executed this event under the excellent leadership of Erin Schneiderman. As a certified special events professional and master educator, Erin worked with her class of 37 students to bring the school's vision to life while ensuring that the event was accessible to all. It is important to note that this event qualified for Gold Sustainability Certification. Since its inception in 2008, SCRD has awarded 445 special event management certificates. Certificates add value to the degrees our students earn, and we are pleased to say that our special event students are working around the world in a variety of events-related positions. Please join me in thanking the students of PRM 145 and Erin Schneiderman. While we're on the topic of recognizing our deserving students, it is now my great pleasure and honor to introduce a stellar student from our school who will share her story. Savannah Stratman is a wonderful example of a rising star who has showcased commitment to excellence within and outside the classroom. Her positive attitude and willingness to serve her community makes us proud to call her our very own. Please welcome Savannah Stratman.
Hi, everybody. My name is Savannah Stratman, and I am a part of the SCRD class of 2021. I want to first thank each and every one of you for coming today and logging on to join us virtually for the program. To the alumni, faculty, and staff, friends, family all across the country, it means so much that you took time out of your day to support SCRD and this year's graduating class. Also, a huge shout out to Professor Erin Schneiderman, PRM 145's class advisor and professor, for coordinating this event and making it possible for all of us to celebrate safely and responsibly together. Having grown up in a very small and rural town in southeastern Indiana, it was pretty uncommon for high school students to commit to out-of-state schools. And it was especially rare for those out-of-state students to choose anything farther than a neighboring state. Going to ASU honestly scared me a lot, but I learned pretty quickly that it was without a doubt the right school for me. I was so nervous to begin my journey here as a freshman at ASU. I didn't know a single person. I had no idea what college was supposed to be like other than what I saw in movies and TV shows. And I think all of us can agree those aren't necessarily very accurate depictions. And I really wasn't sure what I wanted to study in school. 4 or 5 major changes later, I finally stumbled on into Claire McWilliams' TDM 205 class that I originally took as an elective for an interior design major. Claire's warm and welcoming energy really stuck out to me, and from the very first class to the last class and even beyond that, she made it very clear that she not only cared about what she was teaching, but she cared about you. I remember her asking me a bunch of questions once about what I felt most passionate about, what I could see myself doing in the future, and what really filled my heart when working in work projects or even school projects. I don't think I've ever seen somebody so sure about what they were telling me, and that was that I needed to study tourism. I never thought about tourism as a possibility for me, partially because I didn't know it was an option for anyone as far as a career goes. As soon as I walked into my first tourism heavy class following the semester, I was so beyond excited to start my journey in SCRD. I could tell that the students were super hospitable and not afraid to speak up, which I really like in classes. I thought it was really cool that I had the same schedule as the majority of my classmates. So it was really easy to form those friendships and study groups because you went from one class to the next with each other. That's one of the reasons why I think SCRD was a huge part of why I have enjoyed my time at ASU as much as I have, because the community within SCRD is almost like a super big family. Everyone knows each other, and even if you don't know somebody's name, you know their face and still say hi when you're passing them in a hallway or on the sidewalk, or in this case, when you see their little rectangle pop up on your screen. Even though we all have completely different majors, we all have a common passion of serving our communities and, quote unquote, being a part of the solution. That's what makes SCRD so special to me. During my time at ASU, I've had the opportunity to complete several internships throughout the Valley. Recently, I got to serve as a special events intern with the Arizona Exposition and State Fair during the beginning of the pandemic, which was incredibly rare to come across a little bit over a year ago. During my sophomore year, I was excited to serve as a Victoria's Secret Pink Campus rep and as a rep for various Intern Queen campaigns and their brand over the course of my college career as well. I've also gotten to travel for some opportunities that have helped me build experience in tourism and events. My favorite has been traveling to Nashville, Tennessee to help with the Country Music Association's media and communications teams for on-site management for the CMA Fest that they do every single year in June, and for the red carpet at the 53rd Annual CMA Awards. I'm also incredibly grateful for the Tourism Student Association. During the summer and fall 2020 semesters, I was honored to serve as the association's first ever marketing director. I believe my experiences at SCRD and in these internships prepared me to be successful in my current position as a communications, marketing, and events intern with Boys and Girls Clubs of the Valley, but also with my future endeavors as well. During this internship, I've been able to learn so much about the departments within the organization. As we see the pandemic continue to linger on, I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to complete an in-person internship during my last semester before I start my postgraduate career. That being said, I know that each and every single one of us has been impacted by this pandemic. However, there is one thing I can be sure of about SCRD. It's that our students, alumni, and faculty are all dedicated to serving others and making an impact regardless of the circumstances. I have no doubt that each of the graduates this year will go on to be incredibly successful in their careers. So thank you again to everyone here for supporting all of us. As the great Elle Woods once said, congratulations, class of 2021. We did it.
Thank you, Savannah. It's been a pleasure having you in our school, and I wish you all the very best. You and your fellow grads embody the true spirit of service, and I know that you will become just the kind of leader our industry and communities need. In closing, Savannah is also assisting with this year's annual Stars Gala for the Boys and Girls Club of the Valley. So if you'd like to volunteer for this event, please contact us for more information. The next group of students I would like to recognize have been nominated by faculty members in our school due to their contributions to SCRD. They have each been awarded scholarships for the next academic year. Please help me congratulate the Glenn Cheatham Memorial Scholarship recipients, who are Cindy Hernandez and Haley Davis. The Phoenician Scholarship recipients, who are Katie Schaefer, Carly Dewland, and Roberto Rico III. The Randy Verdon Scholarship recipients, Miranda Nunkuma, as well as the Searle Graduate Scholarship recipients, who are Connor Clark and Lindsay Hill. Please join me in a virtual reaction of your choice to celebrate these hardworking students. For our next round of recognitions, I would like to invite my colleague, Dr. Kathleen Anderek, to share a few remarks.
Dr. Anderek, you're on mute.
You'd think by now I'd have figured that out. So thank you, Dr. Bazende. First, I would like to offer a special congratulations to the 223 students who'll be graduating from the Hainan University, Arizona State University International Tourism College, our partner school in Hainan, China, this May. We began our programs in Hainan in the fall of 2017, and these students are our first graduates from the 3 degree programs we offer there. We offer the tourism degree, tourism development and management. We also offer parks and recreation management from SCRD, as well as the public service and public policy degree from the School of Public Affairs. Our students also receive a degree from Hainan University. These are dual degree programs, so they have worked extra hard to succeed in these programs. They've learned a great deal during their 4 years, and many are going on to graduate to graduate school throughout the world. These students are the new face of China. They have strong academic training in sustainability, leadership, and critical thinking, along with the content areas of their respective degrees, and we're very happy to congratulate them on their success. Now, please help me recognize a retiring faculty member. At the conclusion of this semester, Professor Christine Vogt will be retiring. Christine discovered the field of tourism as an area of study after receiving her bachelor and master's degrees in accounting and working at General Mills. She then returned to the academic world to do her PhD with a concentration in tourism at Indiana University. Christine began her career at ASU in the fall of 1993 as her first academic position out of her doctoral program. During that time, she established very strong relationships with many organizations and agencies in Arizona and further afar, including the Arizona Office of Tourism, Arizona State Parks, the Bureau of Land Management, and many others. After 5.5 years, Christine moved with her family to Michigan, where she was eventually hired by Michigan State University, where she worked for many years. When the director of our Centers for Sustainable Tourism retired a few years ago, I immediately thought of Christine to come back to ASU to lead the center, and she's done so extremely successfully. She has established many organizations, again, among a lot of places in the state as well as beyond, and led several, well, actually more than several, many successful bids for grant projects through the center. She's also established a career fair for the tourism and recreation students that will continue on into the future. On a personal note, Chris has been a very good colleague and friend and a travel buddy as well over the years. And we'll miss her, certainly. And I've known her since she started here in 1993. It's the same year I started, and we did a lot of work together. And we'll miss her on an everyday basis, but I personally am not saying goodbye because we're already planning a trip for the summer. Now let's transition to our next featured speaker, who will be introduced by Dr. Buzinde.
Thank you, Dr. Andrek. Our next speaker is Dr. Cynthia Leeds, the Vice Dean for the Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions, and also a President's Professor within the School of Social Work. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Cynthia Leeds.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, everyone. So, hey, hello to our faculty, staff, students, and alumni from ASU School of Community Resources and Development. We have had quite a year this year, haven't we? Thanks to our faculty, staff, and students for navigating a complex situation beyond what any of us could imagine. I can speak particularly to our faculty and staff. This is probably true of our students as well. The end of each academic year, we always feel a real sense of accomplishment. This year, I feel it like none other because we did persevere through one of the most complicated academic years, certainly the most complicated academic year I've ever known. So thank you especially to our faculty and staff. Thank you to the students who stuck with us, and a special shout out to our SCRD graduates. We are here today to recognize your accomplishments. So graduates, we know it's been stated already today that you completed your degrees under very complicated circumstances. But your ability to persevere in these circumstances is only one indication of your capacity for adaptability and also your commitment to public service. So I think you all know that across this college, we seek to build more vibrant, resilient communities. And your degree programs here in SCRD prepare you for this very task. If there's anything that we've learned through our continued need for social distancing, it's that community is essential to us and our functioning as human beings. And so as we currently work to find ways to build community through virtual platforms, sort of similar to what we're doing today, there's no question though that we are still longing for physical presence and closeness. Your degree programs are all about building community, and you, our graduates, will be more important than ever before in advancing this very mission. So just a couple examples. Those of you who are focused on tourism will create opportunities for families and friends to reconnect after months of physical distancing. I myself am taking a trip this summer to visit my in-laws who I've not seen for a year and a half. And I'm incredibly excited to rebuild that connection with them. We've been Zooming and that's been great, but not the same. And so those of you in this degree program create those opportunities. Your work will allow people to resume travel, make memories, do things like learn about other cultures, and expose ourselves to new locations. Now, for those of you who are focused on community sports, you will bring adults, families, and children together again in our local parks and community centers that have been, again, more important than ever. These are places we've desperately missed and we can't wait to get back to. Many of you have learned about how to provide leadership in a nonprofit organization through your degree program. And when I think about our nonprofit organizations, in many ways, leadership will be required more than ever before. These organizations are essential in providing needed services to the vulnerable populations in our communities, but many are going to have to do this in the context of tight budgets, tight resources, when all of these resources are limited, and try to figure out how to continue to provide not just the same, but to potentially even more services than they did before. Now, those of you who are on this celebration, who completed your certificate in events management, you're already learning how to gather through virtual modalities such as this. And I think about our recreation students who will prompt the process of coping and adaptation through recreation, things like art, physical activity, dance, music, all of the things that help us express our humanness through recreation. In summary, graduates, we literally need you more than ever before. So I'm deeply proud to serve as Vice Dean of Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions because of you. You, our students, inspire me each and every day. Your passion, Your hard work, your dedication, and your care for one another is literally a beautiful thing to experience. Your commitment to spread this care across our community is contagious, and we need it. And your undeniable desire to build a sense of community through your varied academic degree programs has never been more important. So I'm really honored to spend some time with you today. I want to offer my personal congratulations to the graduates of our School of Community Resources and Development. We're deeply proud to call you ASU and Watts College alumni. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Leitz, for those words of wisdom and encouragement. I take so much inspiration from you. At the School of Community Resources and Development, we think of ourselves as family. Our faculty have strong, long-lasting roots, and our alumni are always welcome back with open arms. We thought we would take a moment and have a little fun and play a game that we are going to affectionately call SCRD Feud. I wish I had a theme song for you. All right, so we surveyed 100 SCRD students and we want you to guess their top responses. We ask that you participate by entering your answer straight into the chat. Let's get started. All right, we asked 100 current SCRD students, if someone gave you $100 every time our faculty said this word, what word would make you rich? In other words, what was the top word they responded with? Please enter your answer in the chat now. And the survey said, yep, no surprises there, right? Yes, we would all be rich if we got $1 for every time we said that. All right, on to our next question. We asked 100 current SCRD students, what is the #1 reason why you decided to pursue your your degree in the SCRD? What was their top answer? Please put your answer in the chat now. Thanks, Michaela. All right. And the answer is disciplines that align with future goals. Excellent. That's a sound reason. All right, let's go to our final question. We asked 100 current SCRD students, what is the acronym, the word that spells something like AT standing for assistive technology, that almost every student in our school knows the meaning of? And what would their top answer be? Please enter your answer in the chat now. All right, and the answer is yes, CFE, career field exploration. I myself probably say it 20 times a day. Excellent. I hope you enjoyed playing our game. All right, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Robert Ashcraft, who is celebrating his 35th anniversary as a faculty member in every form of the School of Community Resources and Development that has ever existed. No matter the name change, Robert Ashcraft is part of it. So please help me welcome Executive Director and Saguaro Professor of Civic Enterprise of the Lodestar Center of Philanthropy and Nonprofit Innovation, Dr. Ashcraft.
Thank you so much. That's a mouthful. It's my privilege and pleasure to offer some brief comments about the history of our school. Such a backstory, I think you'd agree, adds richness to an occasion such as this one. Our school's roots at ASU grew from recreation as a field, and it became emancipated. Those were words used back then, from its home in what was then the Department of Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. And this was 1979, 1980. Faculty of that era formed what became the Department of Leisure Studies. They joined with other units from other colleges and formed the College of Public Programs, eventually fused together faculty colleagues from ASU West and the Tempe campus into a single unit within what today is SCRD, the School of Community Resource and Development, within the Watts College of Public Service and Community Solution. So over the years, name changes reflected dominant themes of scholarship and practice, growing over the decades to what today is represented in a range of degree and certificate programs. The language of community resources and development emerged as an organizing theme, and thus became the eventual name of our school, SCRD. And that was 16 years ago, the name of the school. Resonated throughout every area of our school, while honoring distinctive fields within. So despite name changes, curricular changes over all these years, the values that drove the earliest history of our unit still hold true today. SCRD is a mission-driven school. It's responsive to our community of students and alumni, relevant to our community of multiple stakeholders at all levels, local, regional, national, global, and we're results-oriented in our ongoing quest to build a body of knowledge among a community of very diverse scholars. So this brief history of SCRD, I think, does reveal a through line of community development that has always been an organizing theme of our school, demonstrated by earlier faculty, staff, student pioneers who preceded us by the values that they evinced. Their values were rooted squarely in a shared goal of advancing individual and community well-being. And it's evident that this tradition embedded in such values are shared today by our seniors who will soon call themselves SCRD and Watts College alumni. And with that as a backstory, it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, alum. And our school's alumni often remind us that life is a journey and it's not about a single point in time or a single destination. Such is the case with this semester's keynote speaker, Brad Brooker, a 1998 graduate of our school. Brad earned a bachelor's degree in nonprofit leadership and management as an alumnus of our Nonprofit Leadership Alliance program. Brad will remember it as American Humanics. And as a summa cum laude graduate of ASU, he was a recipient of our George F. Miller Outstanding Student Award in that era. So Brad is clearly an exemplar among exemplars. I recall fondly, Brad's engagement in our programs during his ASU era. He was part of a remarkable cohort of students. They've all have gone on to make their mark in substantial ways. Brad was our first student to intern at Children's Action Alliance in Phoenix. And I mention this because if you know CAA, you know its role in advocacy and lobbying for the best interests of children in Arizona. And so it's no surprise that following that, Brad pursued law school after moving from Arizona to the Washington, D.C. area. Following law school, Brad clerked for 2 judges, worked in an international law firm, and then in 2008 joined the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, where he currently serves actually as the acting general counsel. And when he was first invited to speak, he was principal deputy general counsel. So he's gone from the number 2 in the legal office to the acting number 1, and not bad. This office was created following the 9/11 terrorist attack to effectively integrate all 17 national and homeland security intelligence agencies in defense of the homeland and support of U.S. national security interests. And you know from his bio, providing legal advice and counsel on a range of security matters, all kinds of issues of oversight, compliance, and electronic surveillance programs, privacy, civil liberties, it goes on. And that office is the special advisor to the president on all of these important issues. The office was not in existence when Brad was a student in our program. So his story is a reminder to us all to be open to opportunities in the future that may not be in existence today. And clearly Brad's service to our nation is noteworthy. We welcome him to this occasion as a proud alumnus. Please help me to welcome Brad Brooker.
Robert, thank you for the very, very kind remarks. Hopefully I'm off mute. I work in a secure facility and don't Zoom very often, so apologies in advance as I'm sitting in my car. First, thank you to the organizing committee for inviting me to speak with you today. It's really a true honor for all of us as a community to be with all of the graduates today to celebrate all of your academic achievements. We not only come together to applaud your successes, this is also a huge celebration for your families, their achievements, their support for you. It's really a proud day for all of us. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years since I've stepped foot on the ASU campus. I still have remarkable and incredible memories of my time there, sitting in class with Robert, Stephanie Hyatt, Lucia Kazi, developing really incredible friendships, working together as a team to raise funds for the annual, what was American Humanics Leadership Conference. I was able to go to Denver and Atlanta with the group. Volunteering at United Way with Jill Watts, who I see online. And as Robert noted, both interning and then working at Children's Action Alliance. And of course, I have to say, one of the best times at ASU was our football team. When I was there, we had an undefeated regular season with Jake Plummer, Keith Poole, Terry Battle, Pat Tillman. The only game we lost that year, the last 2 minutes of the Rose Bowl to Ohio State, which was painful, but an incredible time. As you adventure out into your next opportunities and your next adventures, I really hope for everyone the memories of your time at ASU bring a smile to your face like they do mine. Honestly, I was a bit surprised to be asked to come back and talk and say a few remarks today. Suffice it to say, I've not been the perfect alumni. There may have been a few years where I had a gap in my donations to the annual leadership conference. And I will admit to this day, I still try to avoid some of those calls from the bigger ASU alumni office seeking donations. And as Robert noted, I've moved somewhat away from the independent sector and now work in the government. But the reality is I've not strayed far from the principles, the ethics, and the lessons I've learned from Robert and others in my time at ASU. Core among them, the importance of teamwork, willingness to take risk, and the importance of public service. And if I have a few, I'll take a few minutes to talk about each. First, while some of the classes we've all taken together at ASU no doubt relied solely on the individual efforts we were willing to put in, others, like the class that put together this incredible event, required teamwork. My success in life and my success professionally since I've left ASU is due entirely to the teams that I've had the privilege to work with. And the most successful teams are the ones that have brought together people with diverse backgrounds, diverse ideologies, and ideas that engage and challenge every member of the team to think about issues in new ways. So as you move out and away from ASU and look toward your next opportunity, continue to find people to work with who do just that. People who challenge you, challenge your assumptions, and challenge you to make you better. Second, take risk and don't overthink your career. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I grow up. Often I still don't know what I want to do. I started college up at NAU, changed majors a number of times until a friend introduced me to Robert and what was at the time a pretty small program. This was well before there was a Lodestar Center for Philanthropy and Nonprofit Innovation. And this was before the Center for Nonprofit Leadership and Management was even born. I took a risk, transferred to ASU, and had an incredible 2 years. I also took a risk moving across the country to go to law school, not sure what it would bring. And I would have never guessed that my career path would lead me to national security and intelligence. Admittedly, along the way, I spent a lot of time overthinking my career. Should I ask for a new assignment? Should I look for a new job? Who do I need to meet to advance? Try to learn from me and don't overthink your career. Be willing to take risks. Don't be afraid of opportunities that present themselves, even if you don't know how that opportunity fits into your grand plan. It's these opportunities, the ones that I never expected and I certainly didn't plan for, that have defined my career. Finally, and most importantly, while I learned much about nonprofit management, fundraising, event planning, leadership during my time at ASU, and I still have my Joe C. Bass books on my shelf and my Drucker books on my shelf, what I left ASU with was a core value that every person should have a life dedicated to advancing the public good and helping others. Indeed, that concept today is embedded into the mission of the school that you're in to transform the well-being of communities. Every day I go to work knowing that my job is to help advance the public good. I did some Googling the other day as I was thinking about what to say to see where the other students that I graduated with are. And they too have similar jobs, whether as educators, government leaders, community leaders, all working to advance the public good. So I'll leave you simply with this. As you move on to your next adventure, find a way to continue to commit your life to the public and to the public good and to the public service. It will make your life so much more fulfilling. It will make your successes so much more rewarding. And most importantly, when you get the call from a current student for advice, internships, or for donations, pick up the phone. Best of luck to all of you. I'm so incredibly proud, and your successes are all of our successes. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Berger. We really appreciate you being here with us today. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your story. On behalf of the School of Community Resources and Development, please accept our sincere appreciation for the outstanding presentation you made by accepting this virtual certificate.
So a little birdie named Erin Schneiderman told me that Dean Capel is with us. Dean Capel, are you here?
I am.
Will you say a few words?
I would be delighted to, and I've enjoyed eavesdropping and listening to the remarks. Thank you, Brad, for your reflections. But I really enjoyed, particularly hearing from Savannah. Always hearing from our students is the best part. I had a really great time a couple of days ago hearing the NLSA students all talking about their experience and what it meant to them, and it's quite a privilege, I must say, as dean of this college, to hear the students. Really, you do provide a great deal of inspiration. Vice Dean Leeds already sort of presented the college perspective in some sense, and the college congratulations. So I just wanted to share one thought as I've been sitting here and listening and looking at everybody. Why do we do these things? Why do we have these ceremonies? And interestingly, why is it so important that many of you understandably feel a real sense of disappointment that we're not doing, quite the normal graduation that we expect? We're doing our best to create an experience that you'll value, but you all know, like, we don't need to have a ceremony. Like, you're graduating whether we have a ceremony or not. You're legit. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, but I always say it's not official till I do the selfie at the end. Yeah, that's not true. Like, the selfie actually isn't an official part of the graduation. Don't tell other people, because that's how I get them into the selfie. But so why does it matter? Why do we gather like this? You know what you've accomplished. You understand the challenges that you faced. You even recognize the fact that people helped you get here, whether it's family. Many of you have recognized your professors, which really is fantastic. You recognized your friends. You've recognized all those people who have helped you get to this point. You don't need a ceremony to be reminded of that. You don't need somebody, bloviating about it as we are wont to do at these ceremonies. You all know that. And so the thing that I was thinking about as I watch this and try not to get distracted by Dale's really scary Sparky that's staring at us this whole time, which is terrifying. The thing that I'm thinking about is that this experience of going through, not just of getting your degree, but of finishing your degree and graduating here today and marking that accomplishment, marking this moment in your life, it has more meaning because we're marking it together. Right? Yeah, it doesn't change anything, right? Technically, it doesn't change anything. You're going to get your degree one way or another. You'll go on and do the next thing one way or another. It really doesn't have any material impact that we're doing it in an assemblage, whether it would be in Zoom or if we were sitting in the same room together. Practically, it has no significance, but psychologically, emotionally, it has all the significance in the world. Because the whole point, and it's particularly true of our college, because the whole point of these degrees is that you're part of something collective, that you're contributing to a collective goal, and that you're building a stronger community. So it would be awfully hollow if we did that sitting there by ourselves, somebody hands us a piece of paper, and then like, okay, I'm done, I guess. And so I think there's a lesson here for all of us. I would reiterate Brad's observation that I haven't gotten figured out yet either. There's no answer. Don't worry if you don't know what you're doing exactly. Yeah, get used to that feeling. The point is that whatever you do, don't think about that as a unilateral activity, a unilateral choice. You're doing it as part of a community, and this community that you're part of today, you're part of this community forever. But you're going to be part of other communities, and you're going to build other communities, and that's not secondary to your career. It's not something nice that you do on the side. That's everything. Like the whole that you're part of, that's everything. And so I hope that this virtual gathering provides you a sense of what you are a part of and what your accomplishments that are individual mean as a collective, as a part of the whole, because that's really why we gather together, right? That's why we stand up and we wear, and I'm sorry, I didn't put on my foofy hat. I apologize. But that's why we wear the silly outfits, so that we all feel a common identity, wearing the same clothing, wearing the same regalia, the same insignia. It makes us a whole. So recognize that your achievements are fantastic individually, but they're more meaningful, they're richer because we're part of this whole. And I'm so privileged to be in a community with all of you, and to know that we will have this connection forever. And that's not just because of LinkedIn. It's much more profound than that. So congratulations to all of you individually, but also as a community. You are part of something special, and you will be forever. And as I say, I'm struck by it today, and that's not diminished one bit by the way in which we convene. The point is that we are convening and we are celebrating being one, not just a collection of individuals. So congratulations to all of you at this significant moment in our lives.
Thank you, Dean Capel. Woohoo! All right, that was great. And I put in the chat, I'm loving your word choices today. So congrats on that. All right, I also want to circle back and just say again, thank you, Brad Brooker, for your comments. I think your advice applies to every human who was in earshot. So thank you for giving your time and your service to, to us and far beyond. So thank you. All right, so during our event, a number of people threw some good questions in the chat. So we thought we would spend a little bit of time answering them. So I saw that Shreya asked about what's happening on our campus in Hainan, and short answer, a lot. So I would like to move this to the unmuted Dr. Kathy Anderek, professor and director of our Hainan University and Joint International Tourism College, to answer this one. Kathy?
Okay, well, we currently have 1,050 students in Hainan or so. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, several of them are graduating. So we'll be welcoming another probably 280 or so starting in the fall. And some of the recent developments that will be going on is that we will be starting master degrees in a year or two, one from our school, SCRD, and one from the School of Public Affairs. And something else that's really exciting that just happened is eventually our college will be moving to an international campus along with other international programs at Hainan University. And they just broke ground on that new campus just a few weeks ago.
Excellent, thank you,
Let
Kathy.
me add one other thing, Kathy, if that's
Sure.
okay. So Kathy, Kathy recognized Chris' vote, but I want to recognize Kathy. So she and I were partners in starting High Tech essentially not that long ago, actually, about five or six years ago. A group of people from Hainan University said, we want to work with you because of the expertise in this school in tourism and not just, and by the way, this is important, Hainan already has a hospitality college. They know how to teach kids how to run hotels, but they wanted a program that talked about tourism in the context and recreation in the context of community building. And they didn't have that. And they wanted that. And they said ASU is one of the only places in the world where we can get that. And so Kathy has been absolutely dogged, instrumental leader in building the high tech program. And it's important that all of you know what you're part of. To the point about my previous remarks, high tech is enormously valued by the university, by Hainan province, and by the Central Ministry of Education in China. They view it as an exemplar and a strategically important program. So it's fantastic. And the other point to mention is that we have a remarkable faculty that we've hired to teach our high tech students. They're ASU faculty, in theory based in China, although they're literally scattered around the globe. If you want to talk about international education, teaching from Iran and Tanzania and the Philippines, literally. So it's a fantastic part of your school, and something that that Kathy has been tremendous, the contribution she has made by getting that to where we are today, an incredibly robust part of Watts College on the other side of the world.
Thank you.
Yay, Kathy. All right. So our next question, let's see here. Daniela wants to know what's changing in the tourism industry now that the pandemic has spanned more than a year. Well, I'm going to begin my one out. No, I'm kidding. So I'm going to try and take this one and keep it short and sweet. But as I mentioned earlier, the Scorpion song, the wind of change is blowing. And in some sectors, they are at gale force. So just as the pandemic kind of hit industries, geographies, and specific organizations unevenly, if there's anything any of us know about tourism, is that the good and bad of it are never experienced evenly. And so the recovery has been uneven. I have a friend named Mike who owns a travel, I'm sorry, a different friend. Roxanne owns a travel agency, and she spoke to my 205 class recently. And she said that the dam has broken for those who have been postponing and canceling travel over the past year plus. Searches up, bookings up, stakeholders are literally rallying together and forcing their voices to be heard by government and the public at large. By mid-March, the number of TSA checkpoint passes at our nation's airports had started hitting record numbers since the start of the pandemic. Hotels around the valley are literally calling Aaron and Corey and I saying, please send us students. We have record volume and not enough employees, supervisors, or managers to help us with that. So that's exciting, I think, to know that our Sun Devils are going to have a faster recovery towards positions and internships that we had originally thought. Also just always want to think, and for each of our industries this applies, that there's this multiplier effect, right? Where all these secondary and tertiary industries, I mean, think about farmers who are providing restaurant supplies, or florists who are outfitting every centerpiece and wedding altar. All of these wheels are starting to turn again. Disneyland opening April 30th, there's a little detail, right? So I think that the lessons that all of the graduates of 2020 learned that still apply to you is that you need to widen your lens in terms of the organizations you want to look for. Look for hybrids, consider the non-traditional, look at who is innovating. And that brings me to my other friend, Mike, who was once a vice president of operations for a big hotel company. He was one of the first, that whole line got let go right when the pandemic hit. And so he wasn't sure exactly what he wanted to do, but he knew he loved the outdoors. So he was hired on by an outdoor lodging company, which is a sector of the industry that's literally on fire right now. And now he is tearing through profit and loss statements, applying all that he knows to the traditional hospitality industry straight into outdoor lodging, and now is loving life because he's taking his interests and passions and doing something different. So I think it's an exciting, however chaotic time. I'm excited for you. And I think that all of you graduates should take your hungry selves full of that holistic kind of solutions approach that you've gained here at SCRD and go get them. So that's what I think about that. All right, our third and final question is from Fanta, and that is, what should we know about the future of SCRD? And I'm going to hand this to Dr. Bazende to give us some insight.
Thank you, Claire. There are a number of wonderful things happening in SCRD, but I'm going to highlight one, which is in the fall of 2021. We'll be welcoming our first cohort of students in the undergraduate degree focused on community development. So graduates and alumni, please share this information with your friends and loved ones such that we could have many more individuals such as yourselves joining us in the future. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Dr. Bizinde. All right, it is that moment where we take awkward group photos. It's becoming regular procedure. So everybody grab your prop. It's time to hold it up. So I'll give you a moment to grab your prop. Here's my prop. All right, so hold your prop up and you're going to need to smile and freeze for an awkward length of time, which is 1 minute. Ready, set, go. Still going. Still going. Getting awkward yet? And I think we're good. All right. Well, that brings us to the conclusion of our event today. I want to thank you so much for being with us this morning, and we look forward to engaging with you and making our school and communities stronger. Thank you all.
Thank you.